All right, we are online. I'm just opening up my chat. If you are watching me online, give me a hi, hello. All right. Okay, I'm audible. I am visible. Lovely. Okay, see what we have got for today. All right. Welcome to Unlocking Emotional Mastery using brain skills. Today, we are going to be talking about a new skill set called adaptability. And adaptability quotient is by in itself is a critical thing to be measured, and it is like emotional intelligence. But then why do we call this as a subset of emotional intelligence? Is because this standalone skill is not important. I mean, that alone is not sufficient for you to navigate a lot of challenges. But when it is combined with other skill set, for example, if your adaptability quotient is high, would that what you would like to leverage on? If you can have a combination of adaptability with innovation, then it leads you to some outcome. Adaptability with empathy, it leads you to have a better relationship. Adaptability with structural thinking, logical thinking, will allow you to give you that freedom to be able to work around the framework. Even if the framework is not successful, because you have the adaptability to change, the structural thinking will become even more effective. Similarly, when you have an adaptability and empathy working for you, that means you will be continuously be able to take other people's perspective and understand people, even if they are wrong, or even if your understanding is going to be wrong, you will have the adaptability to change. Similarly, when you have an adaptability with innovation, it allows you to course correct, because when you're trying to innovate something, you're acting in the unknown zone. There could be a lot of unpredictable events. But when you have the adaptability helping you in combination of your creativity, you will be able to pursue that further, because back of your mind, you are always flexible to course correct or change your methods or route, right? But you don't jeopardize the creativity in you. You see how adaptability is like a glue, or I would say it, helps you move forward without friction. Is friction alone, is acting without friction needed in life? Absolutely. In any part, any transactions of life, whether it is for career or family, parenting, or personal growth, or if you're simply sitting and wanting to meditate, okay, you don't want to disturb anybody, you don't want to gel along with anybody, but even within yourself, if you don't have that friction, suppose you're very stubborn, you're very, conventional, and you want only this way, do you think the meditation will happen? For a stubborn person, can he or she become meditative? No. It's a very unique quality for a meditation process also, that our body has to be without friction. That is why we end up doing a lot of postures, right? Yoga and all that. Why? Because it enables us to get meditative. By the time you want to sit for meditation, if your body is friction, if your body is stubborn, then you may not be able to sit and peacefully meditate. Even for your own body, the frictionless is important. Similarly, for your mind, you have to be frictionless in order to just pass through like a water, right? But only with, how do you even attain the frictionless, and how do you even measure the frictionless? Is only because when you have the other combination working, okay? You only being frictionless, being like water, you will just keep flowing, aimlessly. In combination of other skills or talents, then this friction itself is like without friction, acting without friction itself is like a gift. It's like a superpower. So today, what we're going to see is how to stay adaptable in the fast changing world today. And how do you thrive? How do you move from mere just surviving to thriving, because surviving is just taking care of your fundamental needs, but thriving is more of a being state. Although whether it is in you're in a success or you're navigating adversities, you are being there, you're mindful. So survival and thriving, it's a huge transformation. What helps you is all these skill set, especially adaptability. Okay. So today what we are going to learn is how do you adapt? How do you learn that key things to be flexible in order to adjust to life's unexpected shifts with ease and boost that problem solving skills in you? Why are we getting adaptable? There should be some outcome, okay, to solve a problem or to navigate a challenge or to help others. So that is the logical next step, right? So you will be able to turn your challenges into opportunity through this particular skill set. Okay, then it becomes easy. And we are also going to see a case study about a personality who is actually demonstrating, and his success outcomes are very evident, especially leading a tech giant in order to combat the huger, intense adversities. People in that leadership positions need this kind of skill set, like hands-on. Okay, it should be their super skill, super brain power, which is helping them navigate all these challenges. At that scale of adversities, how will a person be able to calmly, composed, think about strategic ways to navigate that challenge, and how easy or she is able to translate that to his team members, and how as a team they are like walking the path, in order to, sail through the challenges and maintain that position in the industry is also equally important. How are they able to navigate and adapt to new changes in the life, in the world, and still be able to position themselves? So we're going to see that. So this is important whether you're an entrepreneur, a business leader, or a high professional corporate person, or a community leader, or a family person, a parent, even for a student. Okay, this mindset of life-changing mindset is very, very important. And this episode will equip with that kind of a mindset and techniques to confidently navigate the risks and seize the opportunities. Okay, so we're going to see how to stay adaptable and how do you thrive in a fast changing world, which is relevant for all age groups. And then what is the importance of adaptability, and what are the skill set needed for that success using that adaptability, and how do you apply in different dimensions, and how emotional intelligence is going to equip with that. I mean, typically your brain skills is equipping with you to have that adaptability activated using your left brain, right brain, and midbrain. We're going to see all those strategies, and why flexibility is important in life and work. In what scenarios can you apply this, and what is a typical growth mindset people do deliver, how do they deliver this adaptability, and some tips and strategies from the success people. Okay, we're going to model them. And finally, you in your own role could be a natural leader. So how are you adapting? So we're going to throw some self discovery questions, and obviously end of the episode we're going to give you some tools and rewards for you to assess and practice. Okay, so stay with us. We are officially jumping into 15th episode of unlocking emotional intelligence using brain skills for 100 days. And we successfully completed the first leg and we are entering into the second leg. So let's see what we've got for today. Generally, by definition, I just want to make sure the screen is visible. Okay. All right. So by definition itself, adaptability is the ability for you to adjust to new conditions. It involves staying flexible in response to changes. Okay. The left brain, the logical brain, approaches in a way that it is helping you analyze uh, changes logically. When there is a change, we actually jitter. Am I right? But changes is constant. But how do you handle that? And what are the impacts, logical impacts and emotional impact when you get into a change? Okay, we're going to analyze that. And your left brain is actually helping you analyze that logically. It gives you that logical data, objective approach, so that you're not jittered, right? You clearly know that is a research-based inputs that you have through your own research. It's not a PhD research that we are doing. Okay. And what kind of research points, how do you gather, and all that we will see. So it's going to help you develop the structured plans to adapt. So when I say adaptability, a person, all of us, right? Even if there is a skill in me already, all of a sudden, when there is a change, I cannot, my brain cells will not accept to adapt. So the immediate question is, why should I adapt? What is the benefit? How is it expected me to be adapted? And why, what is the, other people involved? And what is their measure of adaptability? How much there is a give and take, and all that will be the question, right? Logical question. And essentially, how much, will I be affected? What is a safety for me, right? Emotional safety, sometimes even physical safety or financial safety. There'll be a lot of questions like this. Okay. So these are all the brain styles. And similarly, the right brain skills will also help you to use your creativity and intuition to navigate the changes. You're going to find new ways to thrive. So questions like, what amount of changes will it come? And how will I be taking in? So what should be my energy level? What should I need to energize? And what will be the effect on my family or my team member? So what about their well-being? And what is the way? What is the possibilities? And what are the future benefits, long-term benefits? And what is the risk that I'm supposed to be taking in order to achieve the long-term benefits? And what is the change telling me? What is the wisdom in this? What is the learning experience? How do I have to map this to my long-term vision? Because I have people around and I have to embrace them also. So what is my responsibility here? So all these are right brain skills. You're going to intuitively approach, okay, and creatively figure out solutions. So the key message here is change is inevitable. That is the wisdom that we need to understand principally. Just like how I, put across a lot of principles for you to get educated when you approach emotional intelligence. Each and every skills has its own principle to abide. So this particular skill set needs a different level of understanding. Understanding change is constant. So it's beyond your control. Okay. Can you prevent that coming? Maybe or maybe not. Remember, always Pareto principle, 80 and 20. Your 80% success all depends on the 20% of how you are carrying yourself. Similarly, when you have that 80% data point with you, you can expect life to have in control about 80% in your life. That much, if it is in control, you're good to go. Based on which you just move on because you need to give in for life to happen. 20%. Sometimes during adversities, it is the reverse. But you still have the 20% success rate to make that 80% into possibilities. But how much are we, giving in is very, very important to accept the fact that there could be something which is not in your control and you have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of your strength and weakness. You have to be aware of your strength and weakness of people around or the environment around and what is in your control and what is not in your control. How much can you do and how much can you not do? And how much can you change, can you not change? If you have this wisdom in you, then it is easy to sail through. Then the next step is to success through adaptation. So those who can adapt will succeed and grow, provided they know these principles on, granted. So these are something which is by experience, which is by wisdom. It is, you know, sometimes adaptability doesn't occur just like that. There are steps to adapt. So the first thing is to accept, acknowledge something is changing, and then you start accepting, and then you will have the vigor, energy, and focus to see what is next step. Without acceptance, without acknowledging, you will not be even looking to change. Okay. So you're going to also consider the new opportunities there. Yesterday we said, you know, thankfully we are doing a logical sequence of understanding different skill set. And yesterday we completed the decision making series at all. Like close to about 8 episodes we have done for decision making itself. And yesterday we ended up saying how to balance the risk and opportunity. How do you create that eyesight to have both these in the same parameter? A person who can see the risk, who can evaluate the risk and the solution, should be able to see the opportunity also in the same risk. And a person who is able to see the opportunity should also be able to evaluate the risk in it. You see how balancing gives you a better confidence. You are in a better position to take that call and also face that consequences because you know very well you're prepared. You would have had the foresight even before taking a call. You're not impulsively taking, you're not recklessly taking a decision. Now, if you have that kind of a balanced eyesight, then finding out or adaptability becomes very, very easy, right? Because in your mind, you've already seen both the sides. Now it is easy for you to adapt. That is why I say it is just not adaptability. It is also a combination of other elements, which is what is making adaptability skill itself is a powerful skill. As a standalone, it's not going to help you. You, by simply being ready to change, it's not going to help you. But then what are you going to do with the change is what is going to determine how adaptable you are and what is the outcome of you being adaptable. Okay. So let's talk about advantages of adaptability at all. So the first thing is it's going to increase the resilience. The moment you're able to acknowledge and accept the fact, then you're ready for action. That means you're able to bounce back. Okay. And adaptability helps you bounce back very quickly from setbacks. If you remember very well, we started off talking about resilience itself for close to about 6, 7 episodes. We did this on resilience, when we began this, entire series. I would highly recommend you to go back and review that because we have seen logical resilience, emotional resilience as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as an individual. Why? Because during that resilience, how to bounce back like a pro, we would have discussed adaptability as an important skill set. That is why with adaptability comes as an outcome of resilience. And with the combination of which a person can quantum leap. Okay. If a person is able to quantum jump, then that person is walking towards success. More than anybody else, they are bouncing back like a pro. Okay. Suppose they only have resilient. Of course, resilience comes with adaptability. Suppose they don't have adaptability, but they still want to bounce back. Don't you see there is a huge missing gap? What is that gap? Is because that energy will not be there for them. That positivity will not be there for them because they have not accepted the change yet. Without that, the stubbornness will always be there. That friction will always be there. Even though they want to bounce back, they will fall back again in no matter, in no matter of time. Okay. Then you will be able to see the new opportunities. With adaptability, you can stay flexible and it opens up the door for new experiences and growth. It's going to reduce the stress level also. By being adaptable, you're going to reduce the anxiety by preparing you for your unexpected stuffs. Okay. But unpredictable outcomes can be handled if you have the right kind of adaptability. And it is also going to reduce the stress. Being adaptable reduces the anxiety by preparing you for the unexpected. You're also going to improve the problem solving by adaptable, typically adaptable people find creative solutions to new challenges more easily. Do you agree? Type in the comments if you are the one in your family, have you seen yourself being adaptable? Do you have the superpower already in you? Based on your mastery experiences, do you feel that you have this adaptability? Do you accept the fact that change is constant? Or do you struggle with it? Do you always conflict with it? Okay. Give me the comments. Give me a smiley to, understand that you do see the importance of adaptability because even as a student, even a sixth grade or a 60-year person definitely need this adaptability. It comes easily for a children because they are bound to be working in that framework of what their parent are saying or the school is saying. They're always in the structured framework, right? Because of which they naturally have to adapt. If they show any friction, they're going to be outside the framework. It's not about outside the box thinking. Of course, the creativity can occur when you're not adapting. That is when you're trying to think, how can I creatively think about something? But what we are talking is conflicting something that is not in your control. You're trying to thrust yourself on it. That's not going to work. It's going to hurt you more. Okay. Creativity is a different angle. What I'm saying is acting with friction will not help or serve the goals. Okay. So if you want to get reduced stress, accept the fact that change is important and how do you course correct? So typical example I always quote is pandemic time. We were all hit by surprise, hit by shock, and it is all over the world. It's global factor. Everybody had the same platform. The playground was leveled up. Somebody raised really high during the pandemic itself. Somebody just bounced back, and their bounce back rate was higher. They took time, but then they scaled up. But a lot of people duped down. They went really deep, and they could not even raise up, even now. Why? Because their adaptability quotient was very, very less. One, they could not accept the fact that they can go back. They were very conventionally approached. They could not accept the fact that world itself is changing. All those meetings in the corporates were not in person, right? So the physical industries like retail or manufacturing or consulting and all that. Of course, I understand when there is a warehouse and distribution and all that got hit, and that is how is their business model. But there are certain business model felt that this is how it will be. But suddenly, when the physical proximity got reduced, they didn't accept the fact this is, something that the world is telling us to look forward, something new or some fusion. How do we adapt? And AI is disrupting. How do we adapt to the technology so that we can equip ourselves and also upgrade to a hybrid model, at least, if not leaving the old model, but we can fuse it. But that much understanding or that much willingness was not there in few industries and few business people. They went into a great loss, even with normal individual for their own growth, right? Suppose you were a career person seeking actively job seeking, but if you don't understand what is the job trend right now because of the AI disruption and you're not willing to upgrade yourself, then it's going to be a loss. You're already lost in the game. That is why adaptability is very, very important, and it also improves the problem solving, obviously. Let's talk about some disadvantages if you start overdoing on this adaptability. Very, very critical thing to see, right? It's very tricky also. What if we say, okay, I learned that adaptability is everything. I understand there are certain things that are not in my control. What will happen? Typical women, traditional women has this tendency. We were always told to leave our emotions outside, which means we were asked to change ourselves, entire being, whether it is emotionally, mentally, physically, economically. A lot of things we change, we sacrifice, right? So constant adjustment, what will happen? If you overdo on this particular skills, it has its own consequences. Let me list out that. Always needing to adapt can be mentally exhausting. How many of you here, especially as a woman, give me a smiley if you have gone through this. If you're the only person who's given to be adjusted, then it's not a level playing game, right? You will find yourself greatly exhausted. If not, then it's just there near future. That is the biggest reason for burnout in women, especially even before the midlife crisis occurs. There's a lot of adjustment happening in a woman's self, like I told you, in all dimensions. And then uncertainty also occurs. Too much change can also make long term planning very, very difficult. If the person, what will happen is impulsive decisions. When there is no long term planning, they just cannot stick with anything, right? Being frictionless doesn't mean you sacrifice so many things. You just given so many. No, there is always a proportion, there's always a balance. And why there is a need to even adjust is something that you need to question. Remember the critical thinking aspect that we did, proactivity episodes, everything is connecting, right? If you have those skills or also in progress, you will start questioning as to why, first of all, is there a change or not? You need to define that way. Is it a change? Relocation for a family could be a real big change. But can that relocation be solved only with the earning member? There are certain situations that the entire family need not relocate. The parents could still be able to have some support system. They can still adjust. And I've seen kids, I've seen families adjusting, for quite a while and then they reunion. So the question of how much you want to adapt is the question. Okay. Too much of doing is also having its own consequences. All right. Then the risk of over adapting. Being too adaptable might lead to losing sight of personal goals itself. Typically, for a woman, when we were, in our tradition, in our culture, when we are supposed to get married, we were almost tuned, right? Anybody from India, typically rooted Indians, um, I'm not talking about the modern age of the concept of marriage. But when we got married, I'm talking about 2 decades before, we were tuned in such a way that adaptability was the first thing that is expected. It is not about your intelligent quotient. It is definitely not about how you are emotionally aware and all that. Are you ready to take this change? And how can you get ready? That's the whole question. Is it not because, is it not the question? This is not never the question of why there is a change in you. We were told to accept the fact that way. And it did help us because we were frictionless. But the only worry started happening is when we too much given, when there is no family support, when there is no emotional understanding of your needs for yourself, by yourself, and from your family members, is when you started getting the pinch of it, of how much you were only giving and adjusting. So over adapting is also not good. Similarly, in work situations, suppose you may be a really a potential person, okay? And what if you start accepting so many responsibilities and you start adapting to different project leaders and project team dynamics, and you don't know what to deliver. Sometimes you're lost, not just in the midst of project deadlines, also in your own emotional understanding. It's too much exhaustive, right? Too many people, too many dynamics, too many expectations, right? And as a business person also, I understand pandemic could be a huge disruptions, and similarly AI. But in between, just because your customer don't like certain things, just because your location is not, turning out really good, maybe it's a matter of time. So within that period of time, if you don't have persistence, right after you adapted, if you don't have a persistent to, faith or persistence or consistency to make sure that it is working or not, then you again seeking out for another change. Just because you are adaptable, you can take any other change. That's not going to get you the results. There's also something that you have to celebrate on the pursuit. You also have to have the ability to pursue, okay, despite of any adversities, because you know very well you can adapt, but you cannot keep testing your adaptability thing, or neither the situation cannot be testing you that way, right? And then when you want to adapt, it could be something to do with other people also. If you are a team working for a team, maybe you have this adaptability quotient high, but what about your team? Change could Change is the only thing which jitters a lot of people, gets anxiety. A lot of people get anxiety. You may be working on the skill and you're very good in adapting. It's okay, but not others. So not everyone may be comfortable with constant change causing friction. In fact, it is very, very mentally exhausting, especially for immigrants. The instability and uncertainty is a killer factor in life. Imagine within your own country, suppose your job is not certain, the school that the children are studying is not, stable, and your income flow is not stable, something which is constantly changing. How would you even feel like living? Okay. So neither in the location nor in the same job, you would like to change, right? But resistance from others could be different because your brain style is different, other people's brain style is different. Okay. Even you, in a matter of time, it'll also be exhausting for you. So let's talk about how this adaptability is helping in career. First of all, career growth, adaptability is the key to changing relevant in a fast growing market. Market turndowns are there, market new trends are there, market innovation is there, product innovations, technology is coming and disrupting. So how are we adapting is a question. And then if you don't have this capacity, what will happen? You're going to struggle to cope up with the rapid changes. Suppose you are, then you can navigate smoothly and you're able to seize the opportunities. Statistically also, it is going to be important for HR professionals to consider adaptability as a top future workforce skill. That is why after pandemic, it is proven to the entire world Whoever was able to adapt, they were able to sail through. And whoever not, they stuck. And that is why the next pandemic called mental health. People struggle with changes. And how do we equip? The reason why they struggle is could be the core emotions. So when we address that emotions is when they'll get relieved or released, and then they look at the possibilities. But how many of us are ready to work on that relieving capacities? But for which you need to first of all acknowledge and accept the fact there is a change. These are basic things. And let's also talk about some strategies which can activate your brain styles. That way, the friction and resistance will also move away. Okay. So let's talk about who needs this. Professionals who navigate career changes and market risk, entrepreneurs who seek to innovate and wanting to stay ahead in the industries, parents who are merging their family while they are dealing with external changes, and students who are transitioning between educational stages and adapting to new learning experience. Absolutely, right? Adaptability in career development, as I already said, how are we upskilling ourselves and continuously learning? The more you learn to keep up yourself upgraded, the more it is easier for you to adapt to the industry standards. Okay. Then for relationship, is it needed? Absolutely. A toddler, a newborn will be entirely different from a toddler. And a toddler would need different needs and attention and focus and energy level also when they are into elementary level. And when they go to mid school and high school, there's a different attention needed. And how, as a parent, are we adaptable? It's a very critical skill set, right? I have seen in my experiences, we think the child is child till they hit the teenager level. Okay. For them, they are always child. But you know what? Psychologically, it is proven that the childhood ends around 7 to 8 years itself. So it is by spiritual also, if you go through cycles, solar cycles, it determines the fact that the Bala stage, that is educational stage, unlike the previous times of 16 years, of course, during the 16 years, the brain capacity could be that level, but their growth within them, their grasping power or their ability to think at their feet grows very, very earlier stage. 7 to 8 years is when they create psychological studies also says after 7 to 8 years is when there is a personality growth in a child. There's going to be a likes and dislikes, wants and desires will be very, very unique. They are going to, build their personality at that point of time. So we as a parent may think they are still child, okay, but they have grown. So this transition is very, very important in a parent. We need to understand and give that gap and attention, the necessary need, addressing their emotional needs or wants and respecting their, growth is very, very important. Okay. So adaptability also means adjusting to partners' changing needs and circumstances as well. In relationship is also doesn't end with only parenting. There's also spouse, marital relationship. As a family, it's a different kind of dynamic relationship going on between a mother and a daughter, mother and a son, father and daughter, father and the son, parents and their grandparents, right? Grandparents and the grannies, grandkids, so siblings, there are a lot of relationship going on. How each individual is able to adapt. Okay. As a couple, how are you adapting to becoming parents, ensuring their relationship remains strong, as well as yours also in tandem? It's not that just because you become a parent, you're turning towards motherhood more and forgetting your wife or spouse relationship and respecting them. Similarly, um, you know, it's not necessary that after becoming a mother, the dad is of no importance, or he doesn't have to bother about the mother in terms of their emotional needs. It has to be like individual perspective is always the same, and their roles could be different. Okay, so that adaptability has to come in individual into all individuals. Similarly, when you are at work zone, when you're transitioning from an normal employee to a team leader, there is a transition. How are you adapting? Until then, maybe your process effective. But when you have to lead a team, when you're working within the team itself, you'll have to adapt to the team dynamics. And especially when you're a team leader, you're stepping into the leadership position there, which means you need to adapt your individuality with that of the team dynamics. And after you become a manager, it's a different, ball game, different intensity and different responsibilities. So how are we preparing to be adaptable is something that we have to adjust. And how are we preparing in education? Learning a new subject. This is more towards students, right? How do you adapt to learn unfamiliar topics? And how do we create that learning environment? Are we able to adjust to different classrooms or online settings? Now, in the pandemic, there was a hybrid model, right? Not necessary that, in fact, boardroom meetings had happened on remote Zoom meetings. Education happened in Zoom, right? Sometimes even marriages happened in Zoom during that pandemic period. How did we adapt? It is very important to adapt, right? And educational technologies also. Embracing new tools and platforms for learning for students is very, very important. You just cannot stick saying, screen time, or, you cannot say that you don't like to work with computers and all that. Everything is changed now. How much are you in alignment? And then comes adaptability in parenting also. When it is parenting, your toddler stage, and like I said, in parenting itself, there are a couple of stages that you need as a parent we need to adjust. Adjusting to toddler stage is, constant supervision, basic skill development, and a whole lot of energy. So you playing as a child with your toddler demands you to be energetically available for them. When they go to a school age, adjusting to academic support and extracurricular activities, not just your energy there, but also your time and skills. Sometimes you need to be a teacher, helping them to groom their skills. And when they become a teenager, you are not, maybe energy wise, you are less spending, but your supervision is also reduced. But your approach should definitely become matured. More than the academic excellence or disciplinary aspects, the emotional understanding should be high when they become a teenager. So, this is how a parent has to adapt. Maybe as an individual mom or a dad, you may not be equipped about how to approach the emotions in your child, but you need to learn to adapt. That is why emotional intelligence is necessary skill set in 21st century. Maybe because we are already in mental health pandemic, or because of this natural transition in a human being, right? So just because a child will not wait whether it is a pandemic or not for changing. They grow from toddler to school age to teenager by nature. So maybe our parents also would have evolved. That is why parenting is an evolving stage. It is not a perfect destination. Then comes health and wellness. How adaptive are we? Especially in pandemic, we all got conscious, right? About well-being and fitness become very, very conscious. And now it's like very, very rich industry. After, especially the social media has taken a ride on fitness regimes. So how flexible are we to adjust our fitness routines or dietary plans based on changing needs? There also adaptability mindset is important. It is not one size fits for all. It is never, even the fitness regime has to be tailor made. And similarly, with your in your family, if you're working towards some diet plan, it is not that all diet plan will suit everybody. You need to figure out what is important. But it's a little more a task for a mother to make that kind of a cooking. But you can always delegate and outsource. But principally, we need to understand that we need to figure out a common nutrition diet which takes care of the nutrition, it takes care of the fitness, and it takes care of the need of the family, the value systems of the family. Okay. All right. And also a person adapting their exercise routine during an injury, focusing on recovery could be really different from the daily regime. There also you need to adapt. You cannot be stubborn saying, I will only do a cardio as usual because I want to feel like running. No, when your knees are hurting, you better take a different stance. There also your adaptability works. And then embracing lifelong learning. Okay. How we are going to be adaptable as a lifelong learner. That also indicates that adaptability becomes, you know, it's more of a real factor in you. It's not like you're going to search for it and then ask for adaptability to come to you on a weekend. No, it has to be there as a continuous process. How can you make the adaptability work for you is like having a lifelong learning practice, because staying curious, you're going to continuously seek out new knowledge and skills. Thereby, whenever there is a requirement for you to change, the new knowledge that you acquired is going to help you adapt. And also staying relevant, remaining adaptable in any environment through ongoing learning makes it very easy for you to adapt. Okay, staying relevant is very, very important so that you adapt to the market trends. A marketing professional teams learning about digital trends like SEO and social media analytics will definitely help in this kind of a day and age. Am I right? Because everything has become hybrid model, and any business is expected to have a digital presence. Especially when in India, all the payments are happening through Paytm. Imagine the UPI payments has become a norm even for a cycle vendor. So it is important that we need to also adapt. You may be a traditional, thinker, but when the world is moving towards something, we should also be able to adapt. Learn at least with a curiosity. If not to use it, at least be aware of it. You just cannot be stubborn that, thinking that you are in a different world before pandemic, which is not true. And practicing emotional flexibility is also important for you to stay ahead in this, day and age. And how do you do that? You need to have an open-mindedness. Emotional flexibility itself is not tangible, right, with the data point, but still there is some activity going on in your emotional level. How do you activate that? That's your pure right brain. And how do you do that? Is to stay open to all the emotions impact of a particular change. Don't accept the change as a change only, but look at the impact also. Accordingly, you will adjust the impact to it. If the impact is so high, for example, in pandemic, we had a huge impact emotionally, correct? So many people lost their loved ones. Suppose they didn't have this emotional flexibility. For with them, this could not be a real thing for them. They would just hallucinate that this is not real. And death or grief is so very intense that an individual has to prepare themselves emotionally flexible. It does take time. It is difficult, but that is what will help them be resilient. And emotional resilient is very, very important. For you to be emotionally resilient, you need this emotional flexibility. Okay. And how else can you activate this? By staying empathetic. Okay. You're going to understand the transitions. There are two empathy factor. I told you that in the beginning of the series, there are certain principles you need to remember. Emotional intelligence is always not about other component. It is also about self. So even for adaptability, we are talking about how are we adaptable for others. So that when we are working in team, how do we gel? And for a woman who's entering into a new family after marriage, how is she able to adapt? How is she expected to adapt? But what about her own adaptability? And what about your own adaptability when you're working with your team? So what about that impact? Can you, adapt and accept yourself that you are changing? And what kind of changes is happening? Do you feel good about it? Very, very important. That is what is self-empathy. You turn towards yourself, your values, your wants, your needs, your impact. And how do you respond to it? If there is anything missing, go back to the basics. Understand there are a lot of episodes we have done. What are the strategies that you can, satisfy or activate your emotional well-being? You're going to consult with others. You're going to ask for help. You're going to consult the coaches, trying to understand, to give you some grounding principles or practices to do it. And there are so many different practices: practicing mindfulness, practicing meditation, practicing gratitude, practicing forgiveness. All of these will help you to accept the situation and be adaptable, not intensifying your emotional impact. In fact, embracing that, addressing the impact, first of all. So a typical work scenario is a manager considering the team's feelings when implementing a new process. How does it sound? Why is it needed? Because it's a reassurance. While the company is, you know, churning towards a merger and acquisition, or something is happening, that is profitable for company on a long term, and thereby the employees will also get their profit. Okay, in terms of their stability of the job, and when their company is doing good in the market, their stability of the job is, I mean, their security of the job is confirmed, and thereby they will get some perks and perquisites from the company, and it's a long term benefit for them. But when there is a change in the process or internal teams alignment, it is important to talk to them. Okay, try and understand their emotional impact. Maybe because of mergers and acquisition, it could be a location change or something, where for example, for an employee it could be different distance, like it'll disrupt their normal schedule. Maybe the travel time is increased, or the work hours are increased, because of which a women employee could find it bothering, because maybe the daycare facilities have to be extended, or there is no proper support system because of this new change. There could be many things running in their mind. If only you are able to have a check-in with them to understand their well-being and their feelings, then it is easier for them to get frictionless towards performing, because they know that they have heard, you have heard them, and they have been taken care. Okay, so that is how adaptability works. Emotional flexibility also works. Then staying open to feedback is another strategy. Okay, this is again your left brain and right brain, where you're going to welcome the criticism. Most of the times, again, the change is somebody throwing that change right on our face, asking us to change is very, very critical to accept that. Okay, it happens in the organization regularly and as a structural mechanisms. But in personal life, we don't have anybody to give us a proper feedback, so we need to create that kind of environment in our family for our personal growth. So if you are an individual working on health or finances, business, or in your hobbies, or in your business initiatives, you need to have somebody, trusted advisors, to give you that feedback. Or you may volunteer to take the feedback, criticism from your customers. It could be in the form of testimony, reviews, it could be in the form of survey, it could be in the form of one-on-ones, right? And how do you practice adaptability there? One, staying open, gathering all the input, and also welcome the criticism. Okay, you're going to embrace the constructive feedback from others, a trusted people, not like everybody, because any stranger can spoil your mindset right now, because that's how the world is turning towards. But you need to figure out whom you are going to approach, and then what you're going to do is you're going to reflect on the criticism. Okay, understand it is a constructive criticism from a trusted source, and you're going to reflect back on it for you to have a changes. Where can you change and improve? And after that, you're going to implement the changes. Only then you can measure the adaptability, or the measure the result itself. Then you will start understanding, okay, this is a good change. And then you will start refining or working towards that. Okay. So you need to also have a growth mindset for you to get into adaptability. A person who doesn't want to change, that means what? They don't want to grow. So it is very difficult for them to get into adaptability. So there has to be a shift perspective. First of all, seeking multiple perspectives. That's your right brain. And then shifting perspective. Seeing challenges as opportunities of growth. Instead of taking the challenge as a, big hit, or a punishment, or an insult, or an embarrassment, or a guilt, why not look that as an opportunity? Yesterday, we beautifully saw how your brain skills itself will help you to balance the risk and opportunities. So for a person who is able to see the risk and opportunity at the equal side, can easily adapt. Am I right? They can easily see their challenges as opportunity also. An entrepreneur who is able to view business setbacks as a lessons to improve future strategies. And when they are approaching the future strategies, they're able to see the long-term benefits. It's good that sometimes it comes as a blessing in disguise, even before the life knocks it, maybe with a huge loss, or some disruptions happening. With the customer feedback, or with that prematured feedback, we are able to align ourselves to our our basics. That way, it is an opportunity for growth. Okay. And huge adversities can still have a wisdom. Once we get that wisdom, then we can course correct it. But when you are not ready to take that wisdom, then we are not adaptable. And for you to also keep up yourself in the change, it is very important to sustain the change also, right? It's hard for somebody to take the change. So how you're going to practice this? You're going to practice the mindfulness, staying calm, use some techniques. There are so many things out there in social media to make yourself remain centered during that change. Okay. And then mindfulness to stay, make you flexible when navigating rapid changes. A stressed parent can practice mindfulness to stay grounded during family changes, especially on relocation. Yesterday, in that episode, we took relocation itself as a classic example, and we derived so many strategies to understand how to navigate a relocation, because it equally disturbs the individual, everybody in the family, right from the child till the adult. Everybody has an implication when there is a relocation. So similarly, certain adversities, as a parent, when you are going through, it's best to practice mindfulness. Okay. Let's talk about somebody who has navigated this successfully, and he's a classic example of adaptability. He is Sundar Pichai. We all know that he is an Indian born and American business conglomerate, and he is leading tech giant called Google. And Google is into many other ventures and products, and it is just soaring high and high. The world's best search engine is Google. And the second best search engine is YouTube. Both of them are from Google. And it is led by our none other than Sundar Pichai, our own Indian American business executive. Okay, he's one of the most prominent figures in the industry, known for his innovative leadership and his calm demeanor. Okay, so I was always intrigued to understand his brain skills behind his calm demeanor, and yet revolutionized he's constantly, Google has been constantly keeping up the position of revolutionizing the industry standards. So how is it possible? So when I was trying to understand his leadership style, so I came to understand certain things that he as a person has demonstrated throughout his adversaries. And he has even faced a lawsuits. The company has faced a lawsuits and a lot of challenges to keep up their uh, innovations up to the standards, industry standards. And yet the employees of the company was highly satisfied, and it is a privilege to work in Google. How is it possible for a leader to maintain such standards in both the balanced components? So he's known for his approachable, empathetic, visionary leadership, and also advocates for innovation and inclusivity within Google and in broader perspective tech industry. So when I was going through his brain skills, I was intrigued to understand his leadership at Google. His adaptability guides Google through major technology and market shifts. So his left brain, logical brain, enabled him to, studies say, research says only when a person is strategically thinking can they even be stepping into a innovation side, because when they are stepping into uncertainty, they need a framework behind them to be backing up them. Otherwise they just cannot at that leadership position. It's a high stake profession, right? It's a high stake role itself. When the entire public, the entire world is eyeing what is the Google's next step, it is very important to take that critical step. Without having an objective approach, one person cannot desire anything inside Google. On that note, strategic thinking adapts Google business model based on data driven trends. They are the company which derives data. They are the source of data itself. So they would definitely use their own data driven based business models, right? And their right brain skills is more about human connectivity. As much as they're AI driven company, data driven company, how about their human capacities? Okay. Empathy allows Pichai to connect with employees and adapt leadership styles. Okay. Without that, I told you how is the satisfaction level of Google, and why is it a pride for somebody to work in that kind of a high tech industries, for their sustainable growth. So their top brain talents is his visionary thinking capacity. has proved that his foresight kept Google at the forefront of innovation all times. Innovation could be their core values and problem solving. Just because they're innovating, they're not going to be leading. How are they solving the problem of the world? That is what helping them lead their world standards. Okay. His adaptability helps Google overcome challenges like privacy concerns and competition. Definitely, right? So they had gone through a lot of adversaries, a lot of lawsuits. How are they able to adapt that and still staying guns in their industry leaders, as their industry leaders? So transformational leadership, Pichai's adaptable styles ensures Google's always evolving and leading in new directions. Truly proud of the products been coming out from Google, and how has it made our life so easy, right? By looking at their example, and truly proud of someone from India who's leading the brains behind Google. So I was more intrigued to understand his brain style. And here it is transformation leadership. And of course, his brain talents are, the top ones are adaptability, problem solving, and visionary thinking. Okay. So if you have the questions of how are you able to adapt and how effectively are you even able to ask questions which enables what kind of view are you having during the changes? Do you see opportunities to grow when there is a change happening? Do you adjust? How well do you adapt when unexpected challenges happens? And how do you learn new skills? Are you even open to learn new skills? Right? So similarly, there could be many daunting questions. How open are you to flexibly approach new, environment? How openly do you approach people to take different perspectives or criticism or feedback? And how do you solve problems based on that? So these could be a lot of, there could be even more, a lot of questions conflicting in your mind. I have a tool for you called EQ Quest Bundles. You can assess where you stand in this particular skill and what is the gap? Where do you want to go and what is the gap that you need to fill? There is a self-assessment questionnaire that I can offer to you, not only for this episode, for all the 100 episodes. It's going to take a little more time, but register yourself in the link given in the description. Okay. It is out there for a cost. Okay. But I would like to give you for free of cost. All you have to do is give me top 3 insights that you learned from this episode. It could be your own personal experiences. How have you demonstrated adaptability in your personal experience as a mom, as a career woman, as a professional, as a business leader, or as a dad, as a student? It could be for anybody. Okay. As long as you're able to give me those 3 insights as comments and engage yourself. Right. I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm just going to this. I'm going to give you this entire quiz bundles free of cost. This can be accessed anytime in your life, as many as times that you want. You can continue to take the assessment many times. And not only for this, I'm also going to cover for all the 100 episodes. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's tedious, but when it's out there, it's a treasure. Okay, make use of it. And I'm also going to invite a women specific to brain skills workshop where you can go deeper and wider. If you're a person who's like, I need to know this, I want to go deeper to understand what is my brain style and what are the other brain styles existing. How do I communicate with their brain styles? And how do I assess my current skills using my brain styles? How do I derive my own brain style report using AI driven, tools? So all these questions will be answered in the workshop, and it will be an interactive session. No? So it's a very fresh perspective towards emotional intelligence, and you will find it really useful. So the link is given in the description. Register there. Whenever the workshop is out there, you will be invited. Okay. It is out there for women. And of course, for other people, you don't have to worry. You can subscribe for all the free resources available. It's out there in YouTube. If you still haven't registered in my YouTube channel, I'm coming on live for all these 100 days. Register there, you'll get notified. Plus Spotify, I'm also bringing a podcast in the same, topic in a different version on the fly, on the go. You can hear them. And there is Substack where I'm bringing EQ Sparks as blocks, which will give you a storified format of understanding emotional intelligence. And LinkedIn is there, Instagram, Reels are also coming. So now everything is available there for you to make use of it. But my question is, at this point of time, if you think the world is never going to stop changing, And if you believe that you can always choose how you respond, by staying adaptable, you're not just surviving or thrive, you're actually thriving, learning more and evolving with every new challenge. And if you really believe that, if you resonated with this kind of an episode, and if you think that you can help out somebody who needs to take that decision or maybe navigate that bigger challenges in their life, please share it with them, because that's going to be a huge help for someone out there. And finally, if you like this kind of an episode, give me that like or love symbol. It'll inspire me to do so. Okay, do more and more episodes like this. And you know, emotional intelligence is not an overnight skill set. Okay, this is not something that will happen as a series only. It is a life skill. You need to adapt this on a daily basis. How you're willing to adapt is going to determine the outcomes for you. Okay, so stay tuned. More episodes are coming on your way to make you EQ'd so that you become a great change agent for a lot of people around you. I'll see you tomorrow with another interesting episode.